Imagine you're in a sports car, accelerating hard into a tight curve. You feel it instantly, that brutal pull, dragging you toward the outside of the turn, pressing you hard against the door. The faster you go, the harder your body fights the drift. Now imagine that force is so extreme, it doesn't just pin you to your seat, it physically stretches the entire car, pulling it long. That is exactly what's happening right now, out at the frozen edge of our solar system. Out there, a world is racing through the dark, spinning so unbelievably fast that it's losing its grip. It isn't a ball. It's stretched, deformed, pulled long like an egg. This is Haumea, a planet leaning so hard into the curve that every second it's on the verge of ripping itself to pieces, and it breaks a rule you thought applied to the entire universe. Every planet you've ever seen has one thing in common. They're round. The Sun is round. The Moon is round. Earth, Mars, Jupiter, all of them round. There's a reason for that, a law that shapes worlds. Haumea should obey it too. It doesn't. And once you understand why, you'll never look at a normal planet the same way again. Out past Neptune, billions of miles from the Sun, lies a region called the Kuiper Belt, a dark, frozen graveyard of icy worlds left over from the birth of the solar system. It's so far out here that sunlight, which reaches Earth in 8 minutes, takes about 6 hours to crawl this deep into the dark, arriving so faint that the Sun is little more than the brightest star in a black sky. And somewhere in that darkness, something is spinning out of control. It takes Haumea nearly 3 centuries just to circle the Sun once. But a single day here, a full day on Haumea, sunrise to sunrise, is under 4 hours, which raises a question no one could answer for years. What could possibly spin an entire world that fast, and what did it do to it? Start with its shape. Every large world in the solar system is round because gravity pulls equally in every direction, crushing matter inward until it collapses into a ball. Get big enough and you have no choice. Gravity makes you a sphere, and Haumea is big enough. Along its longest side, it's nearly as wide as Pluto, so it should be round. Instead, it looks like a rugby ball. A stretched, flattened oval of rock and ice, one side almost twice as long as the other. But here's where it gets strange. Haumea didn't come out of the factory misshapen. Something is actively pulling it out of round. Right now, as you watch, that something is speed. Haumea rotates once every 3.9 hours. No other object its size in the entire solar system spins faster. Picture Earth. One slow, calm turn a day. Now imagine that same rotation happening 6 times before you finish your lunch. At that speed, something extraordinary begins to happen to the ground beneath your feet. Remember the car in the curve. If you push the gas pedal too hard, you eventually lose grip and fly off. Haumea permanently sits right at that breaking point, spinning so hard every second that it's constantly on the verge of losing traction and tearing itself apart. Which leaves one very uncomfortable question. What spun it this fast in the first place? Worlds don't just start whirling on their own. Something had to hit the throttle. And the leading answer is violence. Scientists think that billions of years ago, Haumea was struck. A massive, ancient collision with another icy world. A blow so powerful, it set Haumea spinning like a top. But the impact didn't just speed it up, it tore enormous amounts of ice off Haumea's surface and hurled the debris into space. And that debris didn't simply drift away, it became something. And this is where Haumea stops being one strange planet and turns into something far bigger. Some of that shattered ice pulled itself back together into 2 small moons, Hi'iaka and Namaka. But it didn't stop at moons. Scattered across the Kuiper Belt today is an entire group of icy objects, all carrying Haumea's same strange water-ice fingerprint. Astronomers call it the Haumea family, and it's the only collisional family ever found out there. Which means when you look at Haumea, you're not looking at a single world. You're looking at the scene of an ancient catastrophe, with the pieces still scattered across billions of miles of empty space. And buried in this story is a chapter that reads less like discovery and more like espionage. Two teams claimed Haumea first, one American, one Spanish. The Americans had spotted it just after Christmas and quietly nicknamed it Santa, waiting to gather more data before going public. But the Spanish team announced it first, and then came the accusation. Someone had secretly accessed the Americans' private observation logs the night before from across the world. Espionage. 4 billion miles from home. The dispute grew so bitter that when it was finally settled, the world kept its Hawaiian name, Haumea, goddess of creation, but officially no discoverer was ever credited, a world on the map with no name attached to finding it. But set the rivalry aside, because this is exactly where astronomers stumbled onto something that should be physically impossible. Something that takes a rule we thought only applied to the giant planets and turns it completely on its head. In 2017, Haumea revealed a secret it had been keeping for 4.5 billion years. Astronomers watched as it drifted in front of a distant star, a rare and precise cosmic alignment, and the starlight flickered twice, once just before the world crossed, and once just after. Something invisible was circling it, a ring, a thin band of frozen debris about 70 kilometers wide, circling Haumea like a miniature echo of Saturn. Until that moment, we thought rings belonged to giants, to Saturn, to Jupiter, to the massive worlds. Haumea shattered that assumption. It became the first world beyond Neptune ever caught wearing one, and its ring keeps a strange, quiet rhythm. For every single time it travels around, Haumea spins exactly 3 times. A perfect frozen heartbeat, out in the middle of nowhere, that nobody was ever there to hear. Now here's a contrast that shouldn't make sense. Everything about Haumea's story is chaos, a collision, a runaway spin, a world wrenched out of shape, and yet its surface is almost pure, crystalline water ice. It gleams. It throws back nearly half the sunlight that touches it, making this violent, deformed world one of the brightest objects in the entire outer solar system. A flawless, polished shell, wrapped around a story of destruction. So let's push it. What happens if Haumea spins even faster? Remember, it already sits on a knife's edge, gravity and spin locked in a near-perfect standoff. Speed it up and the balance breaks. The outward force wins. Material at the equator would begin to lift away, escaping into orbit. The ring could grow, new moons could form, the world would slowly shed pieces of itself into the dark. Haumea isn't just strangely shaped, it's sitting right at the edge of a physical limit, the point where a world can spin so fast it starts to come apart. And that's when the real revelation lands. We started with a simple idea, planets around, and Haumea breaks the rule. But Haumea doesn't break any rule. It obeys them perfectly. Roundness was never the real law. The real law is balance, the endless tug-of-war between gravity pulling inward and motion flinging outward. Every round planet you have ever seen is simply a world where motion barely matters, where the spin is so gentle that gravity wins in a landslide, and the result is a ball. Haumea is what you get when motion fights back. It isn't a broken planet, it's a planet showing you the equation every other world is quietly solving. A truth their calm, round faces were hiding all along. Haumea didn't break the rule. It revealed that the rule you believed in was never really the rule at all.